Welcome to RV to Freedom Live with Carenza and Brandon.
Hello.
We help people get on the road to become full-time RVers.
Yep. We do that in the RV to Freedom Facebook page, which you guys are on if you're watching this. And we also do it in our RV to Freedom Facebook group where people can come and talk and hang out. And we do it with our course, Roadmap to Full-Time RVing, where we take everything you ever needed to know and all the stuff you didn't know you needed to know and put it in one big course and also provide a support group for you guys.
Mm-hmm. So today we're doing something a little different on RV to Freedom Live. We are having an open session. This is our virtual campfire. We haven't done one of these in a while, and usually they've just been in our Facebook group. So we decided to open up, put it on the page. Anybody watching can join in. I see we've got Bob. Hey, Bob. Good evening from Massachusetts. Good evening from Indiana. Good to hear from you guys. So we're just going to hang out tonight and see what you guys want to talk about. We're going to be hanging around the campfire.
Yes, and I'm going to be coughing periodically because I got something in my throat 10 minutes before we started.
Right, so, of course.
Hey, Joni and Jonathan and
Brian,
yeah.
Yeah. Hey, guys. So, yeah, just jump on here. Let us know you're here. Hi, Brigitte. It's good to see all of you.
See a lot of
and
students
Chad,
in here. They can't get enough of us, I guess. Hey, Chad up there in Traverse
Allison's
City.
With you guys,
nice.
Or with you two, with you guys.
Yeah.
With you two, I'm sure. But, yeah, I'm Traverse. Oh, you're getting cherries because they've been out here and you're in cherry country. So yes. I hope you're getting some cherry pie. Did you stop in Beulah too? And the cherry hut. Talking about cherry pie a while ago, and that came up because that was some of the best cherry pie I've had.
I wouldn't know because I don't like cherry pie.
What did you get there? Do you even remember?
I don't have food memory the way she does. All I know is I need pizza, and then I get pizza, and then I forget about it. Until I need it again.
Yeah, well, I remember that cherry pie. It was delicious.
So we got Elliot and Jane here as well. And the strawberries are in full force, Chad or Allison says.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so what questions do you guys have about full-time RVing?
And we'll start off with a little bit of kind of lightheartedness. Let's talk about our summer plans, guys. What are you guys doing this summer? Are you in your RVs? Are you traveling? If you're not in your RV yet, what are your summer plans? I'm sure you must have something that you want to do, even if it's just going, I'm going to read this book that's been on my list, some summer reading that you want to do. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff happening this summer. So we want to have a little fun and see what everybody's planning this summer.
We'll be in our RV this summer.
We will.
We're always in our RV.
But we're
just kidding.
So we're in Indiana now. We're visiting family, and we're going to be heading north and maybe making a stop to visit friends.
Yep.
Depending on when they're leaving. And then we're talking about going into Canada for a bit.
So we'll be rolling up into Canada. Somehow we're going to get there from here. We could go through Michigan, go through Traverse City. If they're still hanging out, maybe we should. But yeah, I see Joni's going to Maine to get that lobster. You better hurry, though, because our friends are up there, and apparently she's getting all the lobster. So there might not be any left when you get there.
I heard that. Hey, Don, hope you're doing well tonight, too. And Brigitte just lowered the price on her house. We're crossing your fingers for you. Not selling. Oh, of course, just before you put your house on the market. That's when they were selling. But we're going to keep our fingers crossed for you because we want you to be able to sell it and get out here and, start enjoying what you want to do with RVing. Hi, Susan and Jim and Jeanette are here too.
Yep.
Oh, so you Chad and Elsie, you guys are spending all summer up in Traverse City. Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're kind of looking at maybe going to Minnesota to visit friends, but we were talking about coming back down through
the middle of Michigan. Through the right here through my fingers.
And then going back across through Canada. But we could, snake around depending on if
And Brigitte, we're going to be going east. So we're going towards Montreal and Toronto. So I think BC's a little out of the way this time, but we'll be getting there. So Nikki is selling and packing stuff in the house, going full time at the end of July. Awesome.
Oh, you're picking up the new trailer on Wednesday. Woo woo! That's awesome. Post a picture in that when you pick it up. We all want to see. Yeah. That's exciting. San Antonio, what a great place to be with the river walk and everything. That's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we like it down there. Make sure you hit up Torchy's Tacos anywhere in Texas and get the Diablo sauce and the queso. That's what it's there.
Yes. Hey, Kathy and Dane. Good to see you guys. Now you've finished up on the course, and hopefully you're going to get out soon too. Oh my gosh, nice. Your last full-time work day is July 6th. Great to hear, Jim. And then you're heading up to the Dakotas. Woo!
Cool. Well, you might pass by us. Well, no, because you're coming from the south. And yeah, I'm not good with geography. I just go wherever the nice lady on my phone tells me to go. But yeah, the Dakotas are cool. Like Krenza had been as a, in her teens with her family.
Yeah.
I'd never been. Didn't really have high hopes. But I really liked it out there.
In South Dakota. We didn't get to North Dakota.
Not yet.
Yeah. But yeah, South Dakota, we actually quite like it a lot.
Yeah.
And he was really surprised by it. I don't think he was impressed as much by the Corn Palace as he expected to be.
No, I expected it to be more. I mean, it's cool, but it's just a basketball court in the middle of town with corn on the outside. We went inside and there was like nothing inside. So,
and there's more corn art inside.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got everybody's like going to Rapid City and Susan's weekend camping. Oh, going to Smoky Mountains, beautiful. Nice. And Hilton Head.
Hilton Head, my parents just moved there. So we lived in Bluffton, so we're pretty familiar with that area.
Yeah. And Bob said they just spent their second long weekend practicing with their coach. Cool. And looking forward to, they're going to Maine too. Oh, northeast of Acadia. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Very cool.
Now, Jim, it is still kind of hot in the Dakotas. It can get cool, but it can be very hot too.
Yeah.
But, seek out some elevation. Maybe on your way to the Dakotas, go through Denver. Go through, some of the northern parts. And I know that's out of your way, but you're in an RV now and you can do what you want. Elevation's your friend now.
Right. Yeah, during the summer, definitely. Hey, Kathy, they picked up that Canyon Star in Fort Myers on Friday. Woo!
Nice.
That's awesome. It looked like a nice one.
You'll be one of us.
I didn't mean to stalk you, but when you said you got this canyon, I was trying to look up something on the Canyon Star, and when I did, I clicked on the first thing that came up. Oh, I was trying to make sure what size it said, because it said whatever number it was. You know how sometimes it has a number and you think it's that length, but it's really not. And so I was trying to see before I said something if it was really that length. And then I did it. And the first Google search, I clicked on the first
result.
Result. Thank you. Result. I was like, wait a minute. This one's in Fort Myers. I think I looked at your rig. But it looked pretty nice. And it seems like a nice length too, which is awesome.
Nice. Good. Yeah. We got a question from Alan. What are the requirements for bringing pets into Canada? We'll find out. No, I'm just kidding. We've looked at it.
We've done it before just in a car, and it wasn't too bad. Really, most of the time, they really don't even check.
Yeah, but dogs and cats, it's up-to-date rabies vaccinations and have the records of it, and that's really it. You can also get a health certificate from your vet, but they don't require it. But if your dog looks sick or has some patchy fur or has an ailment or something, then you do want that form so that they're not like, hey, your dog looks weird, And then it's really coming back into the U.S. where it's more of a problem.
Yeah.
But for our dogs, they're pretty straightforward. They look pretty normal and they don't do anything too weird. So we'll just have their rabies records with us when we go.
Right. And the health certificates, those you have to get like right before you go. They don't last that long. So if you want to have that, you need to get it, within the week before you leave.
Yeah, but it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
We've taken them over a couple of times in the car. We've never taken the RV over. But we're going to do it. Yeah, I mean, it's not like, it's so scary. We're going through Canada. Montreal and Toronto. We're not going to, northern Canada. So it's going to be like, I'll probably be annoyed because I'll be driving around cities again. But yeah, let's see.
Oh, Lori, where to go first? That is the biggest decision, isn't it? yeah, 3 years and you've got a while to plan and sit there and figure out where you want to go. So when we were in that kind of planning stage and figuring out where we wanted to go, I'll give you a couple ideas of what we did. Because it's always kind of fun to plan this stuff and figure it out. But we bought this big laminated map. And we would roll it out, and we took the dry erase markers and just started circling the places that we thought looked interesting or sounded interesting, or we knew we wanted to go for some reason. And so we had these colors kind of circled all over our map, and we would look at them and go, okay, is there a place that we have always wanted to go in the U.S., but we haven't been? And we both said the Keys, the Florida Keys, because we knew we'd be on the East Coast our first year. So that was like our first big destination. Now, it's not the first place we went, but that was our first big destination of like some place that we hadn't been that we wanted to go. But it was just like, okay, where do we want to go? Let's go. I mean, we were also kind of thinking, because we've been, working and doing all this stuff, and a lot of our vacation time was spent with family. Like, oh, let's go somewhere cool and vacation like. And so that was kind of our thing. But, it's fun trying to get that plan. But, if you can lay out a map and just start,
I guess what we would say is don't have like, I want to go here on this side of the country, then I want to go there on that side of the country.
Right.
Because you'll just be flying. I mean, it's not vacation, it's your life. So it's going to be exciting, and you're going to go too fast. Everybody does it. We even did it too a little bit. Then we went too slow. It was weird. But try not to go too fast. Try to take your time and kind of plan a route. And, the desert will still be there next year. Anyway, stop it.
Well, but that's... You made me forget what I was going to say.
Well, Joni had a question about passports.
But I... Sorry, now you threw me off. I just wanted to say something about that, but whatever, I lost it now.
You'll find it. Do you have to get a passport in the same state that you live in? I don't believe you do. I've had my passport.
The passports don't matter. I mean, it doesn't have your address on it at all.
Yeah. They're a federal document. I've had my passport renewed in New York. I've had it renewed in Chicago.
I got it renewed in Indiana, but we were here at that point.
Actually, I was in New York. I lived in New Jersey, and I shipped my passport to Miami because the Miami office could process it faster than the New York. Didn't you have to go
into New York, though, to do that? But still, we were technically
No, I had to go in to
get
Jersey. An extension. It was a whole big mess. But yeah, it doesn't matter. It's all over the place. Just go to the post office when they have the hours for it and sign up for it. Yeah. And Jim, you might want to get that health certificate before you take your dog over. So Emilio has a good question. What advice would we give to someone that wants to try boondocking?
I would say, there's a couple things that you could do. One is start out slowly. You don't have to go in and think you're going to spend a week somewhere. Just go out and try for a night or 2 nights and figure it out. Figure out if you like it. And the main thing for that is you're going to have something to power your batteries back up. Otherwise, you're really going to be only one night. Yep. So if you either have solar, which you might not have if you're just kind of trying it out, or a generator to help get your batteries back up to full so that you can stay out there. Yeah.
I would say one of the biggest pieces of advice is don't be scared.
Yeah.
We boondock a lot. I'd say 60% of the time we're boondocking. And we have friends that do it 100% of the time. Every single time we take a photo, we point the camera in this direction so that it's desolate and it's just goes on forever. But if we turned around and faced the other way, you'd see the road and you'd see maybe the town. Maybe you'd see other, civilization around. It's rarely as desolate as it looks. And especially the places you're going to find starting out are not going to be 30 miles down a dirt road. And even when we went 30 miles down a dirt road, there was a ton of people around that came in every weekend to camp there too. It's really not as scary as it seems.
No, and if you have someone to go with, that was going to be my other piece of advice. If you have someone to go with, that makes it a little better, a little easier. You don't feel as or maybe afraid or not knowing what you're doing because you have a friend. If it's a friend who's done it before, that's even better. But even if it's not, and going with people could mean going to a rally or something, or going to a convergence where they do that all the time. But just even a friend out there, then you might feel better knowing your neighbors next to you, and you guys can help each other out.
And I think, just another thing is there's no roving bands like in Mad Max out there looking for an RV to break into. I mean, crime happens in cities where it's a crime of opportunity. There's things there I can break into right now. I can break into this one and the next one and the one after that. But out there, there's just not. And, the same thoughts you might have if you saw an RV sitting away. You might be like, that guy's crazy and he's got a gun. I better not go near him. He's looking at you and thinking the same thing about you. So people pretty much just leave each other alone. It's really not scary. I would just say, make sure your systems work. Make sure your batteries hold a charge. Make sure your water pump works so you can get water. And make sure you have a way to recharge, like Krunza said, and give it a shot. And Jim had a good point. He did a harvest host, which is like a one night boondocking, and that was a way for them to try. And you know what? Try it in your park. Go unplug your RV. Just don't use their power. Just stay on your batteries and see what happens.
See how watch how long it can go and everything, and then you can get out there and try it a little bit more out in wherever you want to be. I guess it depends too on what might be your holdup on it, or if you just want advice on it. But if you do have a holdup, is it how long you can last out there, like how to manage your systems, I guess. How to manage your systems, or is it being out there trying to find a spot, or being out there alone? All of those might have different kind of hang-ups that you might want to address.
No. So just one more question related to boondocking, and then I'll come back to Dina's question, where Bob had his first unplanned boondocking due to a breakdown. And that's another reason that, like, if you have a water tank, always keep some water in it, because you may break down. You may be on the side of the road for a while, and you might just want to use your toilet, but you might actually need water to drink and stuff too. And he needed to his broke down was for a simple part. It was a hose and some hose clamps, and he could have fixed it if he had the stuff, but he didn't. So what do we carry? I carry a lot of tools.
But the tool, he said, what is the one tool that you use the most while traveling? As I say, there's one tool that we use the most.
This is it. This is my one tool I use the most. It's got a flat head. It's got a Phillips head, and you can flip it over, and it's got smaller ones. Because every screw likes to rattle loose in an RV when you're driving. And so I'm just always like, tighten this thing, tighten that thing, and or pry something. And these are like $4.
Yeah, I mean, they're like the stupid cheap screwdrivers, but they're so handy.
And that orange handle makes it easy to find too. So this is the only tool that we keep inside, right between the driver and passenger seat. All the other tools are kept out in the car.
Yeah.
I do carry silicone rescue tape, which you can, if you get a hole in a hose, you're supposed to be able to wrap the hose really tight, and it'll get you by for a while.
If you pause.
Let me, turn off these notifications. And then I also, hold on.
I don't know what you were about to say. I wasn't, because I was going to address.
I also I replaced the belt. I replaced the belt, but the old belt's not that bad, so I keep the old belt. I replaced the water pump, but the old water pump wasn't completely dead, so I kept the old one. I'm not real big on keeping a ton of stuff because it just starts to weigh down the RV. And like I said, you're always within 30 minutes of somewhere, and we have a tow car, so we can always disconnect our car and go drive off and find the part we need and fix ourselves up. We have friends that carry everything in the kitchen sink, but I would be curious to weigh their RVs and see where they're at.
I just want to say Chad and Chad and Brian, both had good ways that they kind of practice boondocking or learned about their solar. Is they, like Chad said, they were in a park with full hookups, but they just unplugged for a week and see how things worked out. And Brian said easy ways, they went to state park and without hookups. It's good practice.
So you had to,
You had to. Yeah, right.
And what's cool is once you get comfortable with boondocking, you can choose those options. The park we're in right now is $50 less a month if we don't have sewer. And, that sounds, a month without sewer, but for $7, they pump it out, and we can go 2 weeks before they need to pump it out. So, we can save money. We can choose spots that don't have hookups. We can be a lot more flexible in our choices because we don't need to be hooked up constantly.
Yeah.
So Dina had a question about working on the road. Everything she sees is for an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneurs.
Yes, entrepreneurs are everywhere these days.
We're a legitimate job from a legitimate company, and you're not good at selling anything. So there are remote work jobs. And I mean, you could also maybe not do a total entrepreneur thing, but just think about the stuff you have done in your jobs, and you could do it in a freelance way that would allow you to keep traveling, or, you could do it so you're not in an office and maybe you're not working for the company, but it might give you more flexibility, or it's just a different way to get some money coming in from that, because the people will pay for it, but not necessarily want to hire someone. No. So that's always an option too. But then there are some sites where they do offer remote work, and weworkremotely.com is one of those.
Yes, you'll see jobs there where they specifically hire remote workers. A lot of remote work is going to involve computer programming or some kind of computer related work. But it's not all programming. I mean, we do remote work, and we're not programmers by any means.
Yeah. If you just take a look at your skill set too, and maybe you kind of think of whatever job you've been in that's what you are, that's what I am. I have done healthcare management. I don't know why I came up with that, but healthcare management. I'm a healthcare manager, and that's what I do. But think about those skills and see if they could apply to.
I can't spell.
Oh, see if they can apply to other things, because if you're doing management, you have a lot of management skills that could be applied to probably project management and a whole bunch of other things. So look beyond what you're super familiar with and start expanding upon that, and that should help open up more opportunities for you. And
sometimes there's a couple other things. Is one, what are you doing now? Can you go to your boss and say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I can do it from out there if you want to give it a shot, and see if they'll go for that. The other is go try to get a job with some other company you want to work with. Maybe you have to work there for a little while, but then in 6 months or so, you can be like, okay, I'm leaving and I'm going on the road. And, maybe they'll be okay with that. So that's another thing too. And Jonathan mentioned this site as well, Rat Race Rebellion, which is more remote work type stuff. So there is a lot out there. Yeah, there's a lot of entrepreneurs and, people that work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 hours a week.
Right.
But I get you.
And that was the other thing. I saw Jonathan have the same thought as me too. Customer service is another thing that you can often do from afar.
Yeah.
So even I think Amazon was hiring for that a while ago. And I want to throw out a big...
I'm going to hide that.
Oh, okay.
You took my mouse.
Sorry. Big congrats to Maureen. They said that she's closing on our house on July 2nd.
Nice.
That's next week.
Nice. Woo! And then on July 4th, you can fire off fireworks. Yeah, make sure they close before someone burns it down. And then Judy had a question about work camper jobs. And if anybody else wants to chime in for work camping jobs, but how many are available for single people that include hookup and pay?
There are a good bit, because we have some solo friends who work camp a lot.
They do, but we need to separate. There's two kinds of work camping. There's the traditional work camping, which is they give you a free site and you work in the RV park. And then there's work camping where you work for a company, but you can park your RV there. So like Amazon at high peak season time, they hire a ton of RVers and they provide you at the place to park your RV, and you work in an Amazon warehouse packing boxes. That's also work camping. And that's the kind of stuff that, is really good for singles. It's a lot of work, but, you're moving, you're getting your exercise, you're getting all those steps in you want to do. And then there is this site. It's a really good site, workcampernews.com. That's where you're going to find most of these listings for work camping. Usually the ones that are in a park, it's like if they're trying to attract a couple, one couple will work for the free site and the other couple works for money. That's sometimes
they're all a little different.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes it's as a certain amount of hours split between the two of you, things like that. But there are sometimes it does seem like it's all couples, but then there are the ones that will allow solo.
Yeah,
RVers
but I think it would be more rare to work in a park for a free hookup and pay. So, I wouldn't want you to go out thinking that that's how you're going to survive out here, because that might be harder to find.
Yeah.
But Work Camper News, there are a ton of other opportunities. Working in national parks as a ranger, not an official ranger, but like tour guide, or you register people at the front. I mean, we all call them rangers, but they're not like government, like rangers, And there you go. Don has a good point. Work Camper News is doing a webinar on Amazon this Thursday. So it's great. Yeah. Some of our friends in another chat window we have here are talking about Amazon, because Amazon's starting to get to that season where they're, once November hits, Amazon's going to start going crazy. So,
right. Yeah. So there are options out there.
Yeah.
There are. But yes, they all kind of do it differently. So it might just be hookups, basically, just your campsite. And then sometimes it's just pay. And you kind of have to look at that. And sometimes it's just totally off site and you're just parking somewhere and working for somebody.
Yeah. And another thing is, if this is the way you're planning to live, do the math. If the site is $600 a month and you're working so many hours, think about, well, what if I just got a regular job somewhere, for a month, a seasonal job somewhere that paid $11 or $12 an hour? Would I make out better? So do the math. I mean, sometimes it's just more convenient to work at the campground, and it's not like you need all the money in the world. So it's fine to do it at a lower than hourly rate you would consider otherwise, but just think about that.
Right. Don said there was a first time out, and they were lucky enough to secure fill-in positions with 3 companies close to each other.
Oh, nice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's handy to have them all that close. And congratulations to Brigitte. She's getting her pension starting on the 27th. Nice. So yay!
That'll take the edge off a little bit, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else do we got going on here? We just decided we wanted to come in and hang out tonight. We didn't feel like, having a whole planned yelling at you talk. Oh, but Jonathan, you'll like
yelling at you.
I don't know. I'm just talking. Next week on Monday, unless something comes up during the week here, we are going to have Jill from Full Time Family. She's the owner of Full Time Family. She's the main person at Full Time Families, is going to be on here live doing a Q&A talk same time Monday night.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, Kristen didn't know because I was arranging it. But yeah, that's the second, right? Or
yes.
Yeah. She'll be on next week. So if you guys are interested in RVing with kids, RVing with family, they have a ton of events they do and all kinds of stuff, and they all have tons of kids, so they can really give you a lot of tips like we don't have because we don't have kids.
Hey, Kat, she's late.
Oh, okay. Oh, Jim had someone asked about...
Yeah, I was just trying to find it.
Length of stay required to establish domicile.
Hey, Nancy, thanks for opening. It's awesome, too.
That depends state by state.
Yes.
The popular states are Florida, Texas, and South Dakota.
South Dakota, for example, you only have to spend one night in a campground or a hotel. Let me say
we're like the same. Yeah, and then you carry in your little receipt from the hotel or campground, and you said, "I'm a resident." But yeah, it's one night. Florida
and Texas didn't really have any kind of.
No, you can fill out all your paperwork at home wherever you are in the world. You can fly into Florida, spend an hour or two, going through the DMV and the different bureaus filling out paperwork.
Oh,
and then
Elliot asked that. Sorry,
you can fly home.
Thanks, Jim, for letting us know. But yes, yeah. So. Okay, that was.
Yeah.
Want to make sure there wasn't more to the question, but I see that's it.
Yeah, Amelia said we were in stereo.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really it's not that hard as far as an actual requirement to stay. What's a little different about it is you just need to make some ties to your new state and break ties with your old state.
Yeah.
Is really more what it's about. Especially breaking ties with your old state if it's a state that might want your tax money.
Yeah. So
and you're going to one of these three which don't collect taxes.
Yes.
And that's things like moving your doctor. And you don't go to your old doctor, you go to a new doctor. Even joining a gym, which seems kind of silly if you're an RV, but things like that. Just you make ties to your new state and make sure you're breaking ties to your old one.
Yeah. So, and just for Florida again, you don't have to even bring your RV to Florida. You can have all the paperwork done. A police officer in whatever state you're in can sign off on the VIN number, and you can just fly in. Hopefully you got all your paperwork right. You just dump all your paperwork and fill out some forms, and you'll walk out with license plates and a driver's license. And
your address for your domicile, like if you're choosing one of these three states, there are RV services, basically mail services that will give you an address that you can use to establish residency.
And a lot of times the addresses are tied to an RV park. So as far as the government's concerned, it looks like a real address, and everything looks like a real address.
And like, for example, we work with escapees, but that is who we chose to go with when we started, because we wanted to go to Texas, and they are based in Texas, and they had Texas addresses. So and they actually have now expanded. So we moved to Florida. I mean, it wasn't a big move. We just took our RV over there. They had expanded and have domicile addresses in Florida and South Dakota now. So we just kind of moved our address to Florida with them.
Yep.
But that's like the easiest way.
Yeah. And can you establish residency in Florida if you have property in another state? Yeah. As long as you're not trying to live in that property in another state and then say I'm a Florida resident, then that's kind of tax evasion. But if you have a property in another state that you're renting out, there's nothing in the world in the United States that says I can't own a home in California and rent it out to somebody and live in Florida.
Right.
So it's really just think of any kind of normal person that like, okay, I live in New York, but I have a house in Connecticut, or I live in Texas and have a house in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I mean, it's totally normal. It's just, you make sure you pay the taxes to the people who want the taxes. So if you're earning income on a property outside of Florida, whatever state that property is in is probably going to want some taxes on that income, and they're going to want property tax on your house. So, as long as everybody gets paid, no one's coming after you, really.
Okay. So Nancy had a question about RV insurance, and the best RV insurance that is really kind of up to the plan that you need. And what we feel is best is basically make sure you get a full-time policy.
Yeah.
And a full-time policy is not just what you have with I'm not going to knock it over.
She was swinging her hands a lot, and the tea was right in front of her.
It makes sure it's like your house, like having home coverage or renter's coverage or something like that. It's going to cover your belongings inside the RV. It usually has some kind of umbrella policy with it. It's more than just a regular policy. That's the key component. As far as specific brands go, we don't really have one way or another that we think is the best.
Yeah, and it also is going to come down a lot to where you are and what plans are offered where you are. Because for a lot of us, Progressive is what we have, because that's the only thing that exists for full-timers. But in some areas...
we had something else before. We had National Interstate, but they stopped writing policies for RVs. And they were fine. I mean, we had good experience with them. And Foremost writes policies for RVs, and we had them a long time ago on when we had a pop-up camper and your motorcycle. And they were great during Superstorm Sandy when our pop-up got flooded, but they just didn't have the extra coverage they write full-time policies. We just wanted something beyond that had this extra coverage, and they didn't write that.
Yeah.
So we didn't go with them. But we think the company is great because we had such a great experience with them. So it's hard to say like which, company we think is best, but just make sure it's a full-timers policy.
Yeah. And I think another thing that's good is look at the insurance agents that are RV specific, because they know more than the people you're going to call up on the phone.
Well, and I was going to kind of see about Maureen. She's having trouble because ones she's checked with don't write policies in Massachusetts.
Okay, so Maureen, this will also be a good one for you. FCIS is a very good. It's FCIS, and on Escapee's page they have a webinar from Courtney, who is I didn't hit enter. Courtney, who is the owner of FCIS. They are hardcore RV insurance agents, and they can write for anybody who has a full-timer policy. So, call them up and let them look for you, because they'll get you something. There's always something somewhere in the US. At least that's what they say. Another good one is American Adventure Insurance and Miller Insurance. Those are all like very specific to the RV industry.
I would check with those three, and because they're brokers and they're going to be able to reach out and find a policy for you. And that's terrible, Maureen. I hope that they can find you something that will work so that you do have full coverage in between that time of July into the end of August or when you get there. So, check with them and see if they can help you out, because maybe there's someone that you just haven't been able to reach yet, and there's someone who can provide the coverage at least for that gap, even if you end up changing after that when you have a Florida address. And which I trying to think of what we had from Indiana to Texas, but it's been too long.
Jane had a question about voting.
Oh, well, I was just going to say the warranty. The other part of Nancy's question was warranty insurance with it. So warranty it's really a service agreement, and so
what that means is they're agreeing to pay for service. They're not warranting parts like you would expect on a car warranty, where it's this thing broke, you take it in, they fix it, and you get it back.
Yeah. And again, it's one of those things that it's kind of up to you and the position you're in. They can be good for, like, for example, we had a diesel RV before we had this one, and we went ahead and got an agreement, a service agreement / warranty on our diesel, because we were a little worried if that engine, something happened to it.
$26,000 to replace that engine. And I found a case on the internet of our exact RV, exact model that had to have the engine replaced. And that scared me into getting a warranty. Right.
So we went in to make sure that was covered, because it's not something we could fix ourselves. And that was an expensive repair. And then we got a gas RV, and we decided that it wasn't worth it for us. Yeah. We felt pretty confident that we could cover any kind of fix that needed to happen on the gas RV, because it's not $26,000 to fix
a super common engine that we could go get one. I mean, it would cost a lot. It would hurt, but it wouldn't kill us,
Right. And then there's parts that we could fix more easily on it, and any kind of mechanic. We could take it to Ford dealership and they can fix it. So it kind of depends. If you want that peace of mind, sometimes it's good to have it.
But you really need to read the fine print of what it covers, and real specifically what it doesn't cover. Mm-hmm. Because it doesn't cover any kind of water damage. It doesn't cover any kind of screws. It doesn't cover anything rubber that's going to wear out and cause a problem. It really doesn't cover much. It pretty much covers just catastrophic failure. So if your refrigerator just dies, then it'll cover that. If your air conditioner just dies, it'll cover that. But if a screw rattles loose and that screw causes your air conditioner to die, it usually won't cover that.
Right.
So they're really very tricky about what they don't cover. And also a lot of shops don't like to take them, because the warranty company always tries to negotiate a lower rate with the shop, and they don't pay as quick. And so you'll find that, if you call them and you say, I have a warranty, they're like, we don't do warranty work. They just don't want to deal with it. So it's that thing. It's like, I don't know. For us, it made sense at one time, and now we don't. And if we had a trailer, I definitely wouldn't do it because there's just not that much to break on a trailer. You know, we have a whole engine and chassis underneath us that I worry about. All the household stuff that's going to break is probably not going to be covered. And it's just going to be stuff I have to fix.
Whoa. Sorry. I knew we missed. Where did it go?
About the voting?
Yes.
Jane's
question about, yes. How do you vote or where do you vote if you pick a different state's domicile? So
I feel like we can even show these.
Yeah, I know. I've been meaning to do that. Totally forgot because we've been doing it lately. So it's if you're in state, you can go to your polling station if you're in your state and your county where you are domiciled.
And just real quick clarification, you vote where you're domiciled.
Yes.
You can't vote in another state. That's illegal.
Well, that's what, so if you're in that state and you're in that county, because I say if you're in that state, but if we were in Florida, if we were down in Miami, we couldn't vote down there. We can only vote in, where do we live?
Sumter County. Sumter County, Florida. But then otherwise you would do an absentee ballot.
Yes. So that's most of the time that's how we voted. It was with the absentee ballot. So you want to make sure to go ahead and usually can get a lot of that stuff online, or you can call up the county and get the absentee ballot sent to you and get it in ahead of time and make sure to get it sent in time.
Yeah. And if you have very strong feelings about a certain election, you might feel that you need to plan to be in your domicile, county and city, state, whatever. When that happens, you can vote in person. I mean, absentees are counted, but just, it feels better to do it in person sometimes. All right. So Judy had a question. Do we think it's a good idea to join Escapees before purchasing an RV? First of all, we are employees of Escapees. We do work part-time for them. So just going to throw that out there. Make sure we're real clear on that.
Disclaimer there.
Maybe. They have a lot of educational resources that are great. So if you're trying to learn more, there's the magazine, they've got the blog, they've got their Facebook group. And then, what I would really recommend is, and you don't even have to do this before you get an RV, but once you get an RV, go to a rally. You might hate it, but you're going to meet a lot of RVers really quick. You're going to get a good sense of it. You're probably going to make some friends. It's super welcoming. That's a good thing to do.
Yeah. We were just at the Escapade, which is the big national rally they have. And there was actually someone there in a tent because he came to experience it, learn some more, go to the seminars. Because we were presenting seminars. I think we met him at one there.
He was the smartest guy there. He was there in a tent, didn't have an RV, and listened to every single person. And he stayed out all night. And you're like, oh, you're new. And we all kind of took him in and we're like, okay, here's this, and then this, and then learn this thing.
Yeah. So in that regards, and for their national rally, you don't have to be a member, but it's
$40.
$40. So if you're going to pay for the ticket to get to Escapade, you might as well just do it because you get a discount. I think for you pay more expensive price for being a non-member anyway. But yeah, in that regards, it totally made sense because he's there and he's learning all about it. And you do get the magazine, so it is helpful in that way. And you might be able to find other rallies that you can go to in that regard too.
Yeah.
We didn't join until right before we left. But now we use the 4.5 years on the road now, and we started going to a lot more stuff with it and using a lot more.
I would say with all the clubs and all the memberships you can buy, look at what they offer and see if you need that now.
Right.
I mean, you can always buy it the day before you need it.
Right.
And we pretty much say that across the board with all the clubs. I mean, I've even renewed my FMCA membership while I was standing in the tire shop to buy a tire because they have a tire program that I wanted to use.
Right.
So
yeah, it's one of those things. You might not need it until you go. If you want to go ahead and get a head start and start reading in the magazine or go to like the national rally, I mean, you might as well.
So Don had a question, and it's a kind of a loaded question, but it's how much time in the RV constitutes full-time per year? And
it's 100 days,
150 days.
150
insurance
days. I was going to say that wasn't enough. 150 days.
Insurance companies, according to the insurance people we've heard say this, so we're not taking any claim for this, say 150 days or more in your RV, you are a full timer. As far as insurance is
concerned. I
concerned.
basically had heard 6 months before, but then
it seems like they make it 150 instead of so they squeeze you a little bit on a month or two.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what they do to consider you a full timer, and do have that full time insurance, because if you get in an accident and they can look at your gas records and see that you haven't been home.
That 9 or 10 months, they definitely going to consider you a full timer, and yes, they can deny that claim if they see that. Yeah. So I would. You're a full timer.
Yeah. Marine
part timer, full timer.
Yeah. Marine, I would say give FCIS a call, because they're supposed to be the ones that can do it when no one else can.
Yeah, FMCA, I think it's only one carrier. And Good Sam is one carrier. Miller should reach out to multiple people.
Yeah.
But I think FMCA and Good Sam just have one carrier each. So I would definitely try FCIS and see what they can do for you.
So Lenny has a question about our video working really well. So we're just using a little Logitech webcam for the video. We got a little Yeti microphone for the microphone, which is a really cool mic. It works well.
It's not very little either when you say a little one. No, it's
huge. And we got a light up here. But I'm sure you're asking about the internet. We have the AT&T Nighthawk on an unlimited plan. And because of where we are right now, we have it running on a WeBoost booster. We have the trucker booster, so there's a big antenna up on the roof. And it's kind of blasting it out of this little canyon that we're in right now. But most of the time, we don't even need the booster. And a lot of times all we need, let me see if I can grab it right here. Oh, I stuck it back in the window. But a lot of times all we need is a little MIMO antenna. It's a little antenna. It's like $27 and you can get it on Amazon. It works really well. And we learned all this stuff from RV Mobile Internet, but it's Mobile Internet Resource Center.
Yeah, it's a Mobile Internet Resource Center, which you can go to .com or mobileinternetinfo.com.
Yeah. And also, you caught us on a good day, because a lot of days this thing glitches and freezes and we have to restart it. So, yeah.
Yeah, we've had good internet a lot, and then lately we've had kind of iffy internet, and most of the time our Verizon works really well, but here it is not. So thank goodness we have AT&T and Verizon, because it makes our lives much easier.
So Emilio has a question, and you guys might have more answers than we do. What state's best to see meteor showers?
Is that depending on where they're going? Like, because there's going to be some.
Yeah, soon. I mean, some showers you can only see from some parts of the country anyway. But get out west.
Well, I was thinking dark sky areas.
Yeah, there's dark sky areas. Most of them are out west. There is one in Michigan. There's one in Texas, in Marathon, Texas.
That's West Texas, middle of nowhere.
But get out to the desert.
But it's nice.
Get out. Just get away from cities.
I would think Montana and stuff. Anywhere that you can get, away from cities and get to those dark sky areas. Yeah. And you can actually look up where the dark skies are. Because they have designations, like it's an actual thing.
And even if you don't see a meteor shower, if you catch the Milky Way, that's pretty awesome to see. And Dwight said there's dark sky.
Yes, Utah.
I mean, most of Utah is dark sky.
Yeah, right.
You can do some amazing shots, like in Moab, Utah, with the arches and the Milky Way and the whole thing.
Well, and we got a good dark sky even in Rocky Mountain National Park.
Oh yeah. Yeah, in Rocky Mountain National Park, if you go to the far side of the mountains, away from the city side, it's crazy out there. We were standing out there with the mountain lions and the bears taking pictures at 2 a.m.
Yeah, the Observatory in Fort Davis, which is far west Texas too, just like North Marathon, Northwest, but it would have a lot of stuff too. And let's see, I saw Jonathan was asking about towing your Toad, probably using, yes, we do have tow bars on our Toad, but of our opinion on tow bars versus tow dollies for new Class A RVers. We definitely land on the side of tow bars.
Yes.
tow bars for us. What did he
I'm
say? The
reading
mountain
Jonathan's.
lions and bears were taking me.
Yes.
Yeah, they were. We definitely land on the side of tow bars just because it's an easier setup. You don't.
It's just less hassle.
It's,
I mean, day-to-day life with a
like,
tow bar is simpler. Day-to-day life, traveling. I'm talking about travel life. I mean,
Right.
regular rest of the time is fine. Travel time with tow bar is easier and better and simpler, and almost, I think, in every single way. Travel life with a tow dolly is not as much. Now, what's a benefit with the tow dolly is you don't really have to do anything to your car. You just put your car, like, you don't have to modify your car. You just put your car on it and you ratchet it down, and the lights and the brakes are really handled by the tow dolly.
And they work well and they work fine. And, if you want to tow a car that you can't flat tow, they are perfectly fine. And they're going to serve you well.
Yeah. And if you think you might switch cars, then a dolly's cool because you can use that same dolly on different cars. The upfront cost of flat towing is higher because you need to put a base plate on your car. You're probably going to have to cut some of the plastic parts of the grill to make it fit just right. It's not going to be real noticeable, but you do have to change it. And honestly, you're not going to want to take that thing off when you sell the car. I mean, they're a pain to put on. They're a big pain to take off. So it's going to lower the value of your car when you go to sell it because nobody's going to want that unless you find another RVer. But for us, it's just dead simple.
Yeah, we have gotten pretty good at our time putting it on. It's trying to think. Click, click, click. Like, I mean, it's 3 things, maybe 4 if you count the cables as one each. 4 things that we've got to hook up there and then do a couple things inside the RV, which is just, in the car. Basically taking the brake off and stuff and putting it in the right position on the key. And we're good to go. It's not hard. We get really fast at it. And we don't have the problem of maybe you drive over the dolly a little bit or,
that's a bad problem.
And trying to do that by yourself, I think would be harder.
And even when you take the car off the dolly at a campground and you go to back up, you still got this dolly behind you that's kind of wanting to go the opposite direction the RV is. For us, when the car's off, it's simple. There's nothing back there. There's nothing to store.
Yeah, that's the thing too. You don't have to store it.
So
you might have a space that you can keep it on there if you have a pull through and it's big enough. But if you have somewhere you have to find a spot for it, it's just easier not to have it.
I mean, even some of the other RVers we've seen out there that advocate for dollies, we've seen them lately and they don't have a dolly anymore. They have flat tow with their new car because it's better. It's easier. Yeah. Now, if you have...
And we've had friends who had dollies and they are like, no, flat towing. They switched and they liked it so much better. So.
And if you have a car that you're probably going to keep and you're going to be an RVer, go ahead and set it up for flat towing. You're going to spend the money on the dolly and you're going to get sick of ratcheting down the straps and making sure those dolly tires are taken care of and everything. But if you're not sure about your car, then maybe buy a used dolly at
just to hit back on the stars and dark skies. I saw Brigitte says she moved from Greater Vancouver to Chilliwack. Is that how you say that? I'm not even really sure. I've only seen it printed.
I'm not going to try.
Written out. A lot smaller city. I was surprised by how many stars you can see at night. It really is amazing, isn't it? Like, you're so used to seeing that. And I think we're a little jaded now.
Yeah. It's like, I've seen more.
When we've been somewhere, you're kind of in a city and they're like, oh, there are a lot of stars out now. And we're like, yeah.
Yeah, no.
I mean, that's a lot, but yeah.
So Jerry's asking about brake systems for a Toad. And for those of you who don't know, Toad is the slang for the car that's towed behind the motorhome. So it's called a Toad. And I like the name. Some people don't, but it's fine.
Got to keep things fun.
Exactly. So there's a bunch of different brake systems. The simplest, the least expensive and easiest to install option is like the brake in a box. So it's a box that's like yay big and it sits on the floor in the driver's seat and it has a little foot that pushes the brake pedal. They're inexpensive. You don't have to modify the car really to use them. But if you're a full-timer, and sometimes what we'll do is we'll pull into a Walmart and we'll disconnect the car real quick and we'll drive off. And, if we were to do that and have a brake buddy, then we'd have to pull that thing out and put it somewhere. And it just slows us down a little bit if we want to be quick. And you have to find a place to store it when you're not using it.
Right.
Not really that big a deal.
Not a huge deal, especially if you have an open back seat or something. But, it's just another thing to move and store. Some people use their cars, their totes as their garages, and they already have a bunch of stuff in there. So it's just another thing that you got to find space for. If
you see yourself as a long-term full-timer and you're going to move a lot, like we move every week to 2 weeks normally. So it's a lot of moving.
Yeah.
You don't want anything else that's kind of hassling you. There are some more complicated brake systems that are a lot easier day to day. We have the Roadmaster InvisiBrake, and it's installed under the floor in the trunk. We don't even look at it. No. We don't even think about it. We plug in the car normally, and once we do that, it activates the brakes. It has a little...
I mean, ours is an electric brake system because we have a gas RV. We don't have air brakes, but there are systems, too, that use the air brake system.
Yeah, there's the Air Force system, which is really cool. That actually takes the air from your air brake system on your motorhome and uses that air to activate the brakes. It's completely proportional. However hard you push in the motorhome, you get the same push in the car.
So if you have a RV motorhome with air brakes, that can be a good system too. Yeah. But yeah, we did not do that one because we knew that we were going to have we could have done it when we had our diesel, but at that point we knew we were going to get a different RV and we thought we might be going to gas. So we went ahead and did the InvisiBrake. Yeah. So, which it turned out, hey, we needed that. Yeah. So it was a good deal for us.
There is also the Ready Brute Elite, which it's a tow bar with a brake system built into it. So it has a surge brake like a boat trailer might have built into the tow bar. And it has a cable that you run to your brake pedal. And when it feels that force of the car against the tow bar, it pulls the cable and it actually pulls the brake pedal in your car. And that works well too. So it really comes down to how much are you going to move versus how much convenience do you want. It's going to cost a little more up front. It's going to be a little trickier to install, but in the long run, it's a lot more convenient. But if you're not moving that much, maybe you want to save that money.
Right. So Nancy asked about trailer towing to save wear and tear in your car. And we already think a dolly is kind of a pain in the butt to store. A trailer is even worse because most of the time you're not going to be able to store that right in the same spot as you are. Either it's going to have to be beside your RV or you're going to have to find another parking spot, which they may charge you for at a campground. So as a full-timer, it's a lot of hassle.
Yeah, as you can see, we're trying to reduce hassles because we want to get out there and explore and have fun. And you're probably going to start limiting yourself to pull-through spots and longer spots and more expensive spots. And somebody told me this winter after I smashed my car into a boulder, and I hurt my car. It's a tool, not a jewel. The car is a tool to get you there. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect all the time. And the wear and tear behind the RV isn't that bad. Yeah. The car mileage doesn't count it. It's not terrible.
Tires, but
but even
it's worth it for us not to have that hassle. Now there is an argument if you were trying to tow, you want to have some kind of other system. Like somebody we met had a woodworking station in the back and in a trailer, and so then he towed his car with it. Or if you're trying to tow a couple motorcycles, and so then your car is in there with it, that's like a different thing because you're already having a bunch of stuff. You already got some hassle going on, and you accepted that. But if it's just your car and if it's just to save wear and tear, it's not like you have some classic that you can't flat tow or put on a dolly, even just a dolly, it's not worth it.
Yeah. And,
for in our opinion.
Yeah. And the mileage doesn't count on the odometer. So the next person's not really going to know what happened to the car. So, Let's see. Let's do a couple more.
Yeah, we've only got we've been on here for an hour, guys, so we're gonna leave here in just a minute. We'll try to
I'm gonna hit Bob's real quick because it'll be a quick one. Bob's looking for vehicles that he can tow, newer vehicles. Motorhome Magazine puts out dinghy towing guides, and if you go to rvtofreedom.com/resources, we have a link to them there, and they list all the cars that are flat towable from the manufacturer. So it's a good place to start when you're trying to figure out, some choices to go look at and decide if you like them.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to jump to.
Hold on a second. Right. Let me just copy this in here.
And you got to go to the bottom. And then to Don's comment, any regrets going from gas to diesel?
There's our link for that.
Where is this? Did you hit enter?
I thought I did.
There it is. It popped up. Yeah.
Where was that one?
Any regrets going from gas to diesel? No regrets, but there are things about diesels that are totally better. Engine brakes are awesome. The exhaust brake on a diesel is awesome. Air horns are awesome. Airbags do ride better than leaf springs, but we get there just the same. Our RV costs a whole lot less. It's a lot simpler mechanically, and it does the job. Now we have a 30-foot gas RV and we had a 40-foot diesel. If we were looking at a 40-foot RV, I'd want a diesel because, this is small-ish on this V10, but they use the exact same V10 all the way into 40-foot gassers. And at that point, it's like, the engine's a little weak. We came over the Rockies this year and we got up to 12,000 feet and we took the SUV off and Krenza drove separate because it just felt like we were going to be going really slow otherwise. But even with the diesel, we went really slow, but it didn't feel as bad. But most of the time in this motorhome, towing a 5,000-pound SUVs, we're passing semi-trucks going uphill. Most of the time. It's just once you get to elevation, you have the problem of gas engines don't do well at elevation. They lose power. But for, 6,000 feet, 8,000 feet, we're fine. 10 and 12,000 feet, yeah, it hurts. But no regrets. It's just different. If you can afford the diesel and you can afford the repairs, then, yeah, they're better rigs. The floors are more solid. They can usually carry more weight. Just make sure you get a diesel that is properly sized to the RV because there are some some manufacturers. Thor is one of them, and not on all of them, but they do offer some very inexpensive diesels. And if you look, it's like, it's a 330 horsepower engine. And if you look at a comparable diesel from another brand, it's a 400 horse. It's like, that's where they save the money. Yeah. All right. What else do you want to do?
I don't know if we know anybody's done that.
Lisa did brakes. They went from drums to disc.
Oh yeah, that's what it seems to be. I was like, that's what they were talking about at Escapade too, weren't they?
Yeah. So Jim, I'll try to connect you with some people. I don't know if they've done exactly what you want to do. Some friends of ours, Lisa Brown, they have a blog called Always on Liberty.
And she's in the group.
She's in this group as well. They have a Landmark fifth wheel, and it's a Heartland.
Heartland, yeah.
It's a Heartland, and they went from drum brakes to disc brakes. So I don't know if they did any other conversions with that. And we have a couple people we know that are right now in Elkhart getting Moride axles upgraded on theirs as well. So I don't know what goes with all of that, but they might be able to help you more. They're all in fifth wheels. Yeah.
I saw Judy said she was, she wants a Class B and not even have a towed, which is an easy option too. Yeah. Then you can just drive off. You don't have to worry about hooking up anything. And we have a lot of friends that do that. That, Class B, no towed, and they have a dog. Solo female, Class B, towed with a dog. That's like an RVer type. Oh, it's Class C, but Class C. That's right. But one of them did go to a B. One did go to a B. But yeah, that's totally doable. Lots of people do that. Yeah. And so Don, 37 foot on a gas motor. Yeah, it's a little bit pushing it. So you have to think about, are you going to pull a toad? How heavy is that toad going to be? And where do you want to go? Everywhere in the country, you're going to be fine, except for the steep passes in Colorado. And there's really no way across Colorado without hitting one of these passes. But if you can take the car off the back, have someone else drive it separate, then you'll be fine. All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking questions, joining us. We appreciate it. We hope that it was helpful and you guys had some fun tonight.
And our roadmap to full-time RVing course has just ended. The previous session has just ended. A ton of people are here from there. And very soon we're going to be opening it up again. So if you guys are looking to full-time and you want to get into all these discussions real deep and with every bit of information we have in a private Facebook group as well, we're going to have that available real soon. Oh, Judy doesn't have a dog, so she's a whole different type of RVer.
Yeah. Well, Joni.
Joni
has a Class B.
Well, Class B, no dog, solo female.
Class B,
that's
no
a thing
dog,
too.
yeah.
All right, guys, this was fun. Next week should be full-time families unless something comes up during the week and they change it. But they should be here. All right. Talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this replay of our Facebook live show.
Join our Facebook community to participate in the live shows and learn how to live in an RV.
Go to rvtofreedomgroup.com to join the RV to Freedom Facebook group.
And to be notified about our next live videos and more, sign up with the link provided below in the video description.
We want to help you find your RV to freedom.